Welcome to the intersection of technology, cybersecurity, and society. Welcome to ITSPmagazine. Knowledge is power, now more than ever.
Hello, everybody. This is Marco Ciappelli on Audio Signals podcast, where very recently I repositioned the antennas, trying to capture new sound and new stories. And today I'm excited because I capture a story that comes from quite far away from where we are right now. And it's interesting because it's a play that is going to take place in New York, but it's actually, if I understand, it happens in Paraguay. And the authors of this happen to be from Paraguay as well. One of them is here in the United States. The other is actually connecting with us from Asunción in Paraguay. And for those that are watching, you can see I'm not alone. For those listening, I swear they're here, and I'm going to have you hear the voices. We're going to start with Tahiana, and then Marco is there. And so we're going to do a little round of introduction. Tahiana, tell us about you.
Well, before I say anything, I would like to say thank you for having us here. It's a pleasure to share with you about what we do and what we love, and we're very excited about this play. Well, my name is Tahiana Larissa, and I like to write stories. I have a novel, a few short stories, and always like to read and write. And I've been putting on more time of doing what I love since I moved here and my kids got older. And after my first novel, it was published in Paraguay, and it was about our history. I got to meet other authors and writers, and that's how I met Marco Augusto. And we've been in touch. We worked together in other short story collection books, and we're in the same path. I mean, we like to tell stories. We like to read as well, and that's how one day he proposed to me. He said, "Hey, you want to write a play?" I have no experience whatsoever, so I told him. He said, "Sure, you got it." So he guided me into this, and then I think we took over a year to write All Folks Justice, which is a play that we're very proud of to present, and it was selected to be produced and be on a stage. And we have a performance, our first performance in November. And we're, as I said before, we're excited, we're proud, and we want to share with everyone more about this story, which is it happens half in the United States and then the other half in Asunción. And he will tell you more about it. So,
okay, no, we will definitely talk about that because that's exactly the story we want to hear. But before, a little bit about Marco. And honestly, with all the podcasts I've done, this is the first time I have another Marco. So I try not to get confused with myself here. But no, honestly, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, hi, Marco. How are you? It's a pleasure to be here. And you can call me Augusto. You know, my friends call me Augusto. Tahiana still calls me Marco. I don't know why. We've been working about 3-4 years. I mean, we've known each other for 4 years, I guess. Correct me if I'm wrong, Tai. And she still calls me Marco. But yeah, I'm Augusto Ferreira. I'm a writer based in Asunción, Paraguay. I'm a novelist, short story writer. I'm a playwright. I'm also a script writer, and I'm developmental editor. You know, that one which appears in the movies that calls the author in the middle of the night and asks him why the hell did he wrote that in that part. And well, that's what I do, and I love it. I love to judge. I love to criticize and correct other authors to help them achieve their goals, as you said. And more than talk about me, I would like to talk about how we got to write a play when we just met, when we didn't even meet in person. I don't know. We haven't met in person yet with Tahiana. Have you come here to Asunción, Tahiana, in the last years? I don't remember.
No, I didn't. And after the pandemic, I had plans, but I never did it. So
Well,
we're friends
we
virtually.
we didn't even meet. We didn't even met, and yet we wrote a play, and the play that somehow got selected for the New York Theater Festival, and for a Latin author, even for even more than that, for a Paraguayan author to receive such an honor. I mean, we guess the judges read the play, and they told us so. Read the play and liked it, and said, "Well, you got selected." And it was just in May of this year, I guess, right? April, May of this year. We couldn't
Around
believe it,
April. Yeah, April and May. Yeah.
and somehow we just had 1 week to make the decision of producing it or not, to risk it everything, and because we had no experience, we knew nothing about the scene in the New York scene, the American scene for plays. We just knew we wanted to get to Broadway, but of course, who doesn't? And for a Paraguayan group of artists to aspire to that, I mean, I think it's a big thing. And this is a big step, of course. And we were afraid, we were terrified, actually. We are still terrified for everything uh, that implies. But as a team, at least a team that started with Diana and I'm quite confident about what we're going to present to the New York scene. And of course, we want to take that play to an American tour, and
Well,
then
I
to
hope that's
Madrid.
happened. But
Yes.
that's
Well,
obviously something that we all hope. But I want to start with, before we get to talk about the plot of the play, the story, and why you decide to write this. I'm curious because when people think about writers, they think like, okay, you if you can write, you can write. You can write anything. You can write fiction. You can write biographies. You can write an article as a journalist. But the truth is that, and you can confirm or deny this, is that there is a big difference in the way you approach a story, depending on what is the media that you're going to display it, to show it to the public. One thing is if you read it, one thing is if you have to represent it. And I happen to have read script in my life, and you really need to use your imagination. You're already watching the movie or you're already watching the stage. It's that hard. I mean, this is the first time, at least for you, Tahiana, that you write a playwright. Is that different than writing a book?
it is. It is.
Easier, harder? What is it? Tell me.
Um, I would say it would be a little bit harder in the sense that when you write a book, you want to tell, you want to show. And when you write a play, you need to put your attention and make sure that the audience will get the dialogues. And I don't personally, I don't think I'm the best at dialogues. It's hard for me. I have to rewrite, erase, and then every time I read, I need to correct them again. And this is pretty much a lot of dialogue and a little description. In the book, you can do more descriptions and a little dialogue to support what you're telling, to support your story. But that's the main difference. I saw with a play, you need to really put attention and make sure you have a good dialogue going on, that you can convey information and it makes part of the story at the same time. It's different, it's cool, and thank God Augusto has some experience writing plays, directing play, and as I say, he's an editor too. So he really got me. He said, I got you, and he got me. I think somehow
Very
we
good.
here.
Very good. And your background in terms of writing, I'm understanding you both wrote historical novel. So, and that's a genre on its own right there. So,
Yes, we connected through that.
yeah, that's really cool.
I mean, one would think there is a big difference on telling historical fiction and contemporary fiction, but whatever you're writing implies a lot of investigation, a lot of background research, world building. I mean, both our novels, Sin Laureles sobre sus tumbas, which is Diana's first novel, and El Paso de los Cuatrocientos, which is my first novel, are set in the Paraguay of 19th century during the War of the Triple Alliance. By the way, you should all investigate that war. It's amazing. Yeah. It's full of intrigue, drama, betrayal, full destruction. It's amazing. Romance. It has everything. That period of history of Paraguay, of Latin America, of the world is frequently overlooked, but it's incredible. It's full of amazing stories, by the way. Yeah. So when for investigating to produce a work like that in a novel form, you have to investigate every little detail. You have to talk to historians. You have to fact check, proofread, because a little mistake can get you absolutely canceled by historians. And when a historian says this work absolutely destroys history, everyone immediately goes against your book and forget, because people likes to forget that historical fiction is actually more fiction than history. We take everything from fiction as it happened in real life. Very few people goes to Wikipedia or a book afterwards and looks at the story and say, oh, well, which character was real, who wasn't, and what actually happened. No, we take it as fact, and therefore we forget the purpose of fiction. Well, contemporary fiction isn't actually that different from it, because to tell the story of DA agents, of Paraguayan justice system, of the FBI, of drug addiction, of PTSD, which affects some of our characters, of violence, intrafamiliar violence. I don't know if you have that term in the States. Even when we were researching, we had the help of a veteran police officer. He was a police officer, Thai, or was an FBI agent?
He's a police officer, but that's his career. He did it from 18 years old until he retired. He was around 60 when he retired, so all he did was that.
Well, he's a detective right now, a private detective. He helped us in portraying correctly the character of Reginald Cooper, which is one of our main protagonists. And when he was reading the script, there was a specific word in it, which is femicide. In Spanish is feminicidio, which is the killing of a woman by her husband, by a figure of power in her context, in her social context, in her family, etc. So when he read that word, he said, what is femicide? That doesn't exist. It's homicide. So, well, for Americans, that doesn't exist. But for the Latin American context, it is actually a common thing. So common that that it implied a modification to the penal system, to the law, to include it, to give you a higher sentence. So yeah, every little detail, especially when you're talking about country culture, some of its idiosyncrasy, I don't know if it's say the same in Spanish and English, things like that can actually affect the perception people has on an entire culture. So yeah, historical fiction or contemporary fiction are to be treated with the same respect, with the same caution. And that took us almost 2 years of writing and rewriting. Tahiana said to correct some things. Well, that's an understatement, because Old Fox's Justice took until this point where it's almost ready to be premiered at the theater, took us 18 rewrites.
Wow. I'm going to jump in because as an Italian that live in the United States and passionate about stories in general, just finished the biography of Walt Disney, just to tell about somebody that tells story all over the world and how you need to adapt dialogue, even the songs, when you do that and you prepare for one country, a culture, and another. I mean, I understand Femminicidio is in Italian as well, but I also understand that sometimes I go to translate something and I don't have the Italian words sometimes that it's the thing I think in English, and probably Tahiana, you do the same living here in the United States. And I feel like it's very complicated because you need to have the target in mind, your audience in mind when you write. And one thing is you say, I write for a Paraguayan South American public, or an Italian, or even English and American. It's quite a different culture, even if you share the same language. So I feel like it makes things very complicated. But the question is, who did you have in mind as the audience? I mean, were you already thinking, well, this is going to go to Broadway, so we need to kind of adapt it for an American audience? Or were you like, no, this is a Paraguayan story and this is how it needs to be? So, does it make sense, Tahiana, my question?
It does make sense, but I think from the very beginning, we knew we wanted to tell a story that it can connect our culture, let's say, for American, and then the Paraguay culture too. And as long as we have characters from here and there, and we can, intertwine it and come up with a story. And that's how it all started. And it was just fun. He would write something, and then I would write something. Then we talk about it. He would write something. It was a really fun project to do. But then we actually start sharing with other people that we know. So they would tell us what can be fixed, and they shouldn't be this or that. And then we start, every time we will rewrite, we wanted more. We wanted to be, we wanted to present at some place. And we actually tried before this festival in another place. I don't remember very well, but we submitted a play to another, I don't know, the word contest, or I don't remember, but we were called from this festival. And then, but before that, let's go back a little bit. When you were talking about who was the audience, we knew it would be for American audience and Paraguayan audience. So from there,
and that's part of the story too, right? So give us a little snippet, a little trailer of what the story is.
A little trailer. Well, Augusto is really good at trailer.
Okay, then Marco, Augusto.
Okay,
you tell us.
A DEA special agent is found dead under mysterious circumstances in a Paraguayan hotel. To protect the victim's wife, a Paraguayan prosecutor, about to retire, a veteran, will try to file the case as an overdose. But in doing so, the United States government sends a ruthless FBI agent called Reginald Cooper, Rex Cooper, who will search for the truth. Set in Asunción, the play exposes the corruption of the Paraguayan justice system, which contrasts the American mentality of doing justice at all costs. Through intelligent dialogue, impossible conflicts, and complex characters, this work, which was inspired by what we knew about A Few Good Men and Lincoln Lawyer, presents the philosophical and legal dilemmas of a moral ambiguous case affected by the intrigues and dramas of a corrupt justice system at all levels. The question was, what will happen when an apparently honest detective decides to take on this system to bring justice? But we also wanted to know the perspective of the Paraguayan side, because this is a story of two iron wills who will pursue justice by their own means, regarding their own philosophies. The truth of the FBI and the truth of the Paraguayan prosecutor. Each one believes in justice and will strain the system to its limit to prove their point. The question is, who will win? In the midst of it, there's a widow, there's a pupil, an aspirant, a prosecutor. There's the lives of the families of the people who will get affected by this play that will affect the government, the Paraguayan, the United States government, the embassies. It affects every system, from just civilians to ministers of justice. It actually affects everyone, and it's inspired by real events. Of course, real events, real people. We somehow got to know, or cases we got to investigate, and we tried to tell the story the closest to down to earth as possible. So,
Wow,
in a
I'm
few
impressed.
words, that's all Foxes.
You even changed your tone of voice. You just started acting the trailer as well.
I
So
told you it was gonna
I
be.
know Tahiana was right. I almost want to put like a little music, like when you watch the teaser on TV. No, that sounds fantastic. Uh, how does the community behind you? You can already start talking about this. It's not just, and I say just in air quotes for those listening, writing a book where you put your thoughts on paper or on computer, and then you let people imagination do the job, which is not an easy task. But even harder is when then you have to take actor, do stage, do costumes, do organize this entire thing. So tell it, both of you, that experience. I feel like I wouldn't even know where to start, to be honest. Is it stressful? Is it exciting? Is it learning a new I don't know, a new job, a new profession? What's going on there, Tahiana?
It's a little bit of everything. We were talking about it yesterday because we got to have. It was yesterday. We have a video call with one of the actors. I don't remember. It was yesterday.
Yesterday.
The other day. And at the end, we say we are learning so much because the thing is, when you're part of the New York Theater Festival, you need to come up with a production. They'll help you selling the tickets. They hold the dates for you. They give you the performance place, but you need to come up with all the production, like you said, actors, costume design, directors, assistants, producers, and everything in between. That's why we start our Indiegogo campaign a few weeks ago, and we got some help, but we need more help so we can make it. But it could be stressful sometimes, but we take it as a learning experience. We said, oh, we appreciate we have the chance to learn how to produce a play here. It's not every day that it happens. Since the very beginning, we were cool with it. We knew it's going to be stressful, but we were okay. We said we're going to work hard, and I was telling him to how proud we are of our team, because everyone, director, actors, assistant, Caro, your wife, like everyone, put their heart on it, and they believe in us. It's not just two crazy people from Paraguay. They're trying to come up with this. It's a lot of people who's backing us up, backing this dream, and that's what keeps us going. It's stressful and everything, but we're focused. Like we want to do a present a good play that to make everyone feel proud of us and our team as well.
Right, because you're representing your country, right? Mm-hmm. Marco, you're getting a good support from the community there as well. I mean, is somehow like the government involved? Do they have like culture department that are helping? What's the story there?
Well, we are trying to get something as it is right now. Yeah.
Okay, come on, guys.
all the investment, for example, comes from us, from Tahiana and I. We are executive producers in that regard. And when were you thinking about, for example, the costume design, the little details? One things that as an author, one has to finish the script, and then, well, it's done. Your work is done, and that's it. No. Somehow in the modern world, an artist has to be integral, has to be able to do everything, to think about everything. And thank God the team Tahiana talked about actually is so professional, so it has so much faith in their artistry, in their craft, that they have their ideas, they develop them, they take it to a level that actually the author, we can relax, and well, I mean, we can't relax actually, but we can dedicate ourselves to, for example, gather funds, to gather help, support for the from the community. And there, the director has his own vision. He's incredible. We talked a lot. We shared a lot of information. He asks us what we think about this and that. We took part in the casting process. We gave our opinions. It's amazing. For one is the director. For one side is the director Ronald von Knobloch, who's already working there with the actors. He says essays right now with our producers Rita Ortiz. They are both Paraguayan. From Madrid, Spain, is working Fati Fernandez Mercado. She's a director. She's an actress also. She's working at series right now, and she's managing our communication. Here in Asunción, I'm trying to gather funds, support, sponsorship, help from the state, from the consulate, Paraguayan consulate in New York. Tahiana there is working also to get sponsorship, to get help, to manage the agendas. We had talked to the Actors Equity Association. We were in process as one of our actors belongs to the SAG-AFTRA. So we're actually in conversations with them. We had to fill in a lot of paperwork, but now we can proudly say we are, how do they say, compliant producers of the AEA, the Actors Equity Association. So now we somehow went from writers hoping to get a play produced to executive producers and producers in New York recognized by the guild, which is something we were never expected to happen. And I don't know what that actually implies for the future, but it sounds good, and that's great.
It does. It sure does, and it opens door. And there's one thing I always bring up about the overnight success is the most underrated and overrated phrase that you can hear. Like an athlete or a singer or an actor is like, oh, it just became who became overnight. And like, do you know how much they work to get where they are? Training, practicing, learning, all of that. So every step, it's important. And I think that you guys are doing something that for many people will need, again, a lot of support. And I hope you do get it. So when we finish this in a few minutes, we're going to have a clear call to action for the Indiegogo campaign that people can help doing this, but also to learn. And because there are honestly many valuable artists, writers, and in many form of art. That's why I use the word artist in many part of the world. And yeah, we all look at America and as the big sage, but you can also do something small somewhere, and then hopefully somebody notice it, especially now with social media.
Yeah.
So I hope the word goes around. I do have a question though. When you write, and then you say you meet with the actor, you have to adjust. You write it 18 times. You rewrite it. This thing. So that's alone. It's a headache in my head. Do you feel like you're changing the nature of what you wrote? Like it is upsetting to change? Because I know that I don't even like to change a comma to what I write. But so how much is you see it as an improvement, or how much you see it as okay, I have to do it for the media. It's a different medium. I need to do that.
I would say there are times that you need to make sacrifices, but you need to think about how it's going to end. How is it going to affect it? It's not easy just to erase something and rewrite. Everything else will change. But there are some times that I don't mind erasing as long as I'm satisfied with the end. And I know I have to cut an arm and a leg sometimes. It hurts, but I know it will help the story. If it gets the story going and there's an end that at the end I'm satisfied with, I'm okay with it. I'm willing to do sacrifices, and we did it. We did it with Augusto. We did it a few times, even when when the director came in too, he suggested a few things, and we're still adjusting. And now I think every time after 18 times, we feel a little bit more comfortable with the changes because we know what we want. We have the vision, and we know it's going to be for the good of the play. So I know it hurts, but you'll get over it. Usually, get over it.
When you, yeah, that's absolutely right. But when you get the distance of time in the midst of the writing process, you actually start feeling less. You start to separate the idea that your play, your work is a baby that you have to somehow nurture, let it grow. No, it's imagine it as a sculpture with rough edges and lots of obtuse angles that you have to lime. I don't know, to limar, would say in Spanish.
Polish.
To polish, yeah, thank you. To polish until it, it stays something somehow attractive, a beautiful piece, And through that year and a half, 2 years of writing and rewriting, there was one question we asked a lot, back and forth between us, and it was, do you remember what was the original intention behind this? Why we started this? Are you satisfied? Do you think we are still going the same direction? If we felt that the answer was no, then we will redirect it, and that was the path. Of course, as the first time we were working together, and I hope it's not the last time, we even got into fights. I mean, arguments, not sort of like, I don't want to know, I don't want to, I mean, get out of my life, or something like that, not on that level, but I'm sad, things like that. I feel sad. Why? Because that wasn't what I wanted for that character, and that was the worst part. Those were the worst moments. I don't know, what do you have to say about it, Tai?
Not really. I think with the time it became clear what we wanted for each character. So it got easier. In the beginning, like you said, when we were just building the story, we were like, nah, he shouldn't have family. No, he shouldn't do this. And there was a part that I remember very clearly that I was not okay with that ending of the scene. But then he has to be patient. He was very patient, and we talk and talk and talk. And at the end, I realized that was the best ending for that scene. It has to be that way in order to continue to keep the story going and to make sense and connect with everyone else at the end. Because if I did that, everything is going to be. I want a total different ending to that scene. But then, when we talk, and then I sat with the idea a few days, it was the best thing we can do it, because as more people came in as the actor, producer, director, assistants, and everyone is okay with that part now. I mean, people won't even notice, but I remember. And it's good. It's for the good of the story. It works perfectly. So.
Yeah, it's a good point. When you do something, you want to be perfect, and it's never done. I mean, for a true artist, even painters, they would just destroy their painting because they were not happy. But you're a different person every day, and maybe you will change something every day. Maybe something happened in your life that makes you want to portray that character a little bit different from what it was. But you need to have somebody that says, you know what, this is good enough, and there is a lot of different way of do the right things. And I think you guys, you being humble about the whole process is a learning one. I think is very important. I would like to finish this, as we are at the 34th minutes of this conversation, with a quick message from both of you to invite people not only to come and see the play, which is at the New York Theater Festival in November, which is coming up. So, make it happen. But you also need help with the campaign. So if this can somehow go around, they will be fantastic, because I think it everybody deserves a chance, and you guys are working super hard for this, and I'm sure people would enjoy it. So take your time, a few minutes each, and make it count.
You go first.
Yes, invite everyone to come and see us. You can support us even by going to Indiegogo, and All Fox Justice is the name of our campaign. We have donations. I mean, you can donate from $1 up to whatever amount you think you feel comfortable with. We have a video. We have more explanation, information about the play, who are the character, who is involved, and we have the poster. We have a few very interesting perks. And as I said, you can even go to our campaign and Indiegogo, or you can come and see us. We are very excited to meet you and see you. And if you saw it, tell us. And hopefully we get to see everyone. We have, I'll give you the dates, are November, Monday 13, Friday 17, and Sunday 19. We have 3 performances, but the premiere is on Monday. And we hope to see everyone there. We're very proud to bring something that I think is going to be very entertaining. And you're going to come out of it like question yourself a lot of questions.
Which is a good thing.
Yeah.
Well, you can learn more about the play at in the page of the New York Theater Festival. You can learn more at our social networks. You can look us up on Instagram at Kabbalah Teatro, at Marco Augusto Ferreira, which is...
I'll have all this link in the notes. So for everybody listening, just look down. There'll be notes and links to both Tahiana and Marco to get connected with them, and to, of course, all the URL that you gave. So don't worry if you're missing a dot or a period or anything.
Okay, thank you, Marco. So okay, you can look it up at the comments. So we expect to see you there, and we hope you like the play. We hope that you share, and also on an off-Broadway show. Then we expect to go off-Broadway with the same team, which is an amazing team, full of professional artists, capable of. I mean, the production here you can expect to see in All Fox's Justice is Broadway level, Hollywood level. You just have to see what Carol Shapina on costume design planned, all the costume changes. I mean, it's amazing. Ronald Bonoblock is the director. Is also a composer, a lighting technician. He has some ideas which are truly amazing, incredible. You really, I mean, you will be surprised. I was telling you before and the cast. We have Tessie Harasti as a protagonist, Charles E. Williams. We have Mauricio Castillo, Michelle Serge, and who am I forgetting? And Rebecca Alice. That's our cast. They are amazing actors, all from New York. It's amazing cast, and we expect to go from there. I was telling you, Marco, off Broadway. Well, then to Broadway, and we also want to make an American tour. I don't know how, but we somehow managed to do it, and then we'll go to Hollywood with the story. But still, as we were talking before, as we were saying before, the medium is the message. We weren't saying explicitly, but we wrote the story for theater, and I'm telling you, it's an experience. It's not just a story you live, an experience, an adventure. And we hope you actually get to cry tears of joy, to experience the thrills. It's a noir thriller. Old Fox's Justice is a noir thriller wrote for theater in a way you have never experienced before.
Wow, I want to see it. All right. So good job, fantastic job in describing this. I think it was a great story. We look into the backstage and the background of you two, and I think we understand that there is a lot of you and a lot of the things that you have done in the past before this that came, and it's a constant growth. And I'm a big fan of new things, of indie production when it comes to every kind of art, because we need to give at least to give an opportunity. And, if then you have some critique, then you can have it, but don't judge it before you actually watch it, because everybody deserves these. And again, I'm excited. All Fox Justice, Tahiana, and Marco Augusto, thank you for coming on the show. And for everybody, notes, connect with them, do what you can, and stay tuned. Subscribe to Audio Signal Podcast, and we'll be back with more story and storytellers and how they make it happen. I don't know, but they do. Thank you very much.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you, Marco.
Of course, an honor.
We hope you enjoyed this conversation. If you learned something new and this story made you think, then share ITSP Magazine with your friends, family, and colleagues. If you represent a company and wish to associate your brand with our conversations, sponsor one or more of our columns. We hope you will come back for more stories and follow us on our journey. You can always find us at the intersection of technology, cybersecurity, and society.